Here's my hive. First of all, thank you very much for this FlowFrame team. So we're looking inside. This is harvest afternoon. It's probably 4 o'clock on a Thursday. We'll look inside of the side panel here. Now, if you noticed, virtually nothing is capped, but it's been like this now for over a month. So I felt comfortable harvesting after seeing a few other videos and a few other people online. I did buy a refractometer so I could test. Putting in the bottom board here in the top slatch so the bees could suck up the honey that might fall all the way through. I made this a lot more difficult than the FlowFrame team wanted it to be. I thought I knew best. I should have really listened and follow the instructions. But what I'm doing here, because not everything is capped, I decided to harvest each section separately in little bottles, 8-ounce bottles, and that's how I'm packaging and selling mine. So I could test each set of 8-ounce bottles independently for their moisture content with the refractometer. Made this again a lot more difficult than I should have. I should have just collected everything together. It turned out to all be perfectly tested. There was a little bit at above 19%, 19.3. Most of it was closer to 17 and 18%. Was very happy. So here are the bottles, waiting on it for it to come through. And so I did about 1/10 of it at a time so that I could, again, test the moisture content. I knew the front side of the hive from hive inspection was very well capped, if not mostly capped. As we moved back toward the back of the hive where I'm at now, there was no honey in the cells and very little of it was capped toward the back. So I figured that would be the higher moisture content, so that's why I was wanting to harvest that honey separately. It turned out that was some of the case and some of it wasn't. So it's all good. It's an amazing process, and I would have never gotten into harvesting honey or beekeeping period if it wasn't for the Flow team. I helped my mentor harvest honey the next day, Friday morning, and I arrived at his house just after 8 a.m., going out into the fields, pulling all the frames, taking them back to his house. We used a chemical called BB Gone, sprayed on the top board, and it has a nasty, nasty odor to it, and it drove the bees out of the hive. One of the things I must emphasize here, I made this slow motion only to show exactly how long, not slow motion, I made this standard motion without any fast speed just to show exactly how long some of it took. Everything else, most videos I've seen have been fast forwarded, and you didn't have a true understanding of how long it took. So that first bottle was real time. So here's some photos with my iPhone, looking at it later when I finally got smart and followed the Flow team's advice in putting tubes on it and draining it in. You can see the girls working away. It looks like some of them are stuck right there, and actually they were. And I opened it up slightly a little later, and they came running out and didn't go back in. So I learned how to open up the hive a little bit at a time, cranking it, and the girls would pull themselves out of the frame, and then I'd open it up all the way. It never killed any, I'll say that. It just got them stuck a little bit, and they couldn't get inside otherwise. So here is it fast forwarded, me draining. But we went out to the fields, used the BB Gone on the hives for my mentor, then pulled all the frames back to his house, bees still on them at times, went into his house, and then used a wax knife to cut all the wax cappings off, and then used a centrifuge spinner to pull them all the honey out of it, and it flowed to the bottom into a 5-gallon bucket through a strainer because there was some dead bees, some parts, wax cappings. If you look at my honey, harvesting it, there was no filtering, nothing done. I am amazed on how clean the honey was coming directly out of the hive. I had seen some hive beetles crawling around. I thought for sure one of the hive beetles would have gotten caught up in the honey as it was flowing out and ended up in a bottle, but that never happened. I couldn't find a speck of anything in any of my bottles. It really was an amazing process. I will be ordering another hive, setting side by side this one. I actually harvested just, well, right at 30 pounds. It was hard to say because I ate so much as we were making it and doing it. So by the time I remembered I needed to calculate all the weight, I had eaten, and friends of mine had come over, standing around. You can see me talking to them occasionally and eating honey as it was literally coming out of the hive. It was just amazing. And again, thank you. I'll shut up for a few moments and see if there's anything else. Oh, you'll see a video here in a moment. I'll cut it in, and that's what I'm doing right there is, I'll doing a little bit at a time, make sure the girls are out of each one. You can see how I'm doing it. That's real time there. Just a little bit at a time, and the girls will back out quickly. But I'll take my iPhone to the side and show you what it looks like with the frame opened up. And you can see it jagged and how the honey flows actually out of the hive. It's pretty cool. And then I've got a video or photos of it shortly after I have repositioned it so you can see how it's working as well. But the harvesting, following my mentor, I really appreciate him allowing me to do that with him. But I'll tell you, that would have deterred me from ever harvesting honey. And here's my founding member opening side panel. And you can see how the girls are just sitting there walking across it. I'm sure they're panicking that all their honey's disappearing, all their hard work. I found out one bee in their lifetime only produces 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. That's a lot of work. So it's flowing out. I walked off and left, and this is after the harvesting was complete. The frames reset, so you can see it remains. They're starting to repair the work, repair the comb. And a week later, I already found honey back being deposited into the frame. Again, thank you, FlowHive team.